You know what's more fun than camera comparisons? Blind test camera comparisons. But I recently realized I've never done a video like that on this channel, so I decided it's time to change that. In this video, I'm going to be comparing the cameras on the, in my opinion, flagship killer Poco F1 to those present on the used to be a flagship killer at one point Oneplus 6T. And spoiler alert, it's going to get really competitive. Now, of course, since this is a blind test, I'm going to be labeling the cameras A and B. I want you guys to guess which one you think is the Poco and which one you think is the OnePlus, and by the end of the video, after I've shown you the samples, I will reveal the results. All the samples that you're going to see were shot in JPEG using the default camera app with HDR and flash set to automatic. Now that the basics are out of the way, let's take a look at the samples. So those were the samples. What do you guys think? I think that they were both really good, and in some cases it was really hard to tell them apart. But let's now talk about what you've all been waiting for, the results. So camera A, drumroll please, was the Poco F1, and camera B was the OnePlus 6T. So yeah, go down to the comments, tell me if your guess was correct, and let me know why you made the guess that you did. As for my general observations, in my opinion, the images from the 6T were generally sharper. They had better dynamic range. As a result, there was more detail, but oftentimes the images were also looking really fake because of the aggressive nature of the HDR. For example, take a look at this selfie, take a look at this photo that I shot from the kitchen. They both look kind of fake to me. I don't really know if I like that. That's really personal preference. The 6T images were also generally more saturated. They weren't necessarily realistic, but in comparison to the Poco, they were more saturated. Whether you like that or not is really a personal preference. In terms of portrait mode, I think that both phones were really good, almost equally good, I would say. As for video, I shot the video sample that you saw with both phones at 1080p because while there is 4K on both phones, the Poco does not have EIS, so it was only fair to compare them at 1080p because both of them have EIS. But even in 1080p, I think I prefer the stabilization of the OnePlus, but from an overall video quality standpoint, I think I prefer the Poco. Some of you might be wondering about night mode. Well, in my experience, it wasn't really that effective. It was either making very little difference, or it just was taking up too much time, so I didn't really think it was worth including some night mode shots. Hopefully it gets better in the future, but for now it's kind of meh. So yeah, those were the key differences that I noticed. So what is the verdict? Well, I don't necessarily think that the 60 is better than the Poco. I mean, for the average Joe, yes, in most cases the 60 images might look more appealing, but if you're an enthusiast, if you know something about photography, I do think that you can produce equally good or even better results with the Poco F1 using knowledge in editing and all that stuff. So I would say don't let camera be the deciding factor between the Poco and the 60. I honestly think the difference is very little, at least in my opinion. That said, I will tell you that the display on the 60 is much better. So when you look at a photo on the 60, it looks much better than a photo on the Poco because of the display. So that might be more appealing to the average Joe, but otherwise I don't really think the cameras are all that different. Now, before we wrap this video up, I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Srinidhi, aka at Nikon Thrillos on Instagram. The 60 that I used actually belongs to him, so it's not mine. So huge shout out to him. I really appreciate it, man. If you guys want to see more shot on OnePlus 60 photos, you should definitely check out his Instagram. He's a great photographer. I will leave links in the description below. While you're at it, also feel free to check out my Instagram. Give me a follow if you like what you see. Also consider subscribing to the channel if you like what you see. If you're new around here, maybe even give a like and drop some feedback in the comments. It's been Suraj. Thanks so much for watching. Take it easy and stay devoted. What's happening, YouTube? It is 1 AM and I'm finally almost done editing this video. Poco F1 versus OnePlus 60 camera comparison. Kind of happy with the video. It's okay-ish. I wasn't able to get a whole lot of B-roll, but whatever I did, managed to get, I'm pretty happy with. So hopefully you guys like this one. Now, I want you guys to tell me in the comments if you're interested in a Poco F1 review after all this while, a dedicated review. Not sure if people are still into that phone, so any kind of feedback on that is really appreciated. So yeah, I'm gonna hit render and call it a night. Peace.